It was a cold, rainy night. A homeless man sat shivering on the sidewalk when he noticed a woman struggling to shield herself from the storm. Without hesitation, he did something unexpected. He gave her his only umbrella. She thanked him and disappeared into the night. But the next day, something unbelievable happened. A luxury car pulled up in front of him, and when he saw who stepped out, he was left speechless. Stay tuned for an incredible story of kindness, fate, and an unexpected twist. Michael had been homeless for years. Life hadn't been kind to him. Once, he had a home, a job, and dreams. But a series of unfortunate events had left him with nothing but the clothes on his back and an old, tattered umbrella. He spent his nights sleeping on park benches, and his days hoping for a little kindness from strangers. On this particular night, the rain poured heavily. Michael huddled under an awning, his umbrella barely keeping him dry. As he sat there, he noticed a well-dressed woman rushing down the sidewalk, desperately trying to cover herself from the storm. She was clearly struggling. Without thinking twice, Michael stood up and walked toward her. "Miss, here, take this," he said, holding out his umbrella. The woman hesitated. "But what about you?" Michael smiled faintly. "I've had worse nights. You need it more than I do." The woman's eyes filled with emotion. "Thank you. Thank you so much," she whispered before disappearing into the night. Michael thought that was the end of it. Just another rainy night in the city. But he had no idea that his life was about to change forever. The next morning, Michael sat in his usual spot near a small cafe, hoping someone might spare him a little change. He was lost in thought when suddenly a sleek black luxury car rolled to a stop in front of him. The door opened, and stepping out was the woman from last night. She was no longer drenched and desperate. She looked composed, confident, but her eyes carried something else, an emotion Michael couldn't quite place. He blinked in confusion. You're the woman from last night." She nodded. "And you're the man who saved me from that storm. But I wasn't just any woman. And you weren't just any homeless man." Michael furrowed his brows. "What do you mean?" The woman took a deep breath before holding out an envelope. This belongs to you." Michael hesitated before slowly opening the envelope. His hands trembled as he pulled out a legal document, and what he saw made his heart stop. Inside was a check for $50,000 and a letter from a well-known real estate company. Confused, he looked up at the woman. "I don't understand," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. The woman smiled. "My name is Olivia Carter. I own Carter Enterprises. The night you helped me, I was coming back from the hospital. My father had just passed away. I was lost in my own world when you showed me kindness. That moment changed something inside me. And then I realized something else." She paused before continuing. "You're Michael Reynolds. 10 years ago, my father told me about a brilliant young man who worked for him. Someone with great ideas and an even greater heart. But one day, that young man disappeared. When I saw you last night, I couldn't believe my eyes." Michael's breath caught. "Wait. Your father, Mr. Carter?" "I worked for him years ago, before everything fell apart." Olivia nodded. "My father always regretted not being able to help you when you lost everything. He never forgot you, and neither will I. That's why I want to give you a fresh start." Tears welled up in Michael's eyes. This is too much." Olivia shook her head. "No, Michael. This is what you deserve. A second chance." Days later, Michael stood in front of a brand-new apartment complex, his new home. He was no longer a homeless man sitting on the streets. He had a roof over his head, a job waiting for him, and most importantly, a future. As he walked inside, he held the umbrella in his hands, the same one he had given to Olivia that rainy night. She had returned it to him, saying, This was never about money. It was about kindness. You changed my life in one night. Now I'm just returning the favor." Michael smiled, looking up at the sky. Maybe life isn't as cruel as I thought. A single act of kindness can change a life. Sometimes the smallest gestures have the biggest impact. Because kindness doesn't go unnoticed. It always finds its way back. Next time you see someone in need, ask yourself, what would you do? If this story inspired you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more incredible real-life stories. Have you ever seen kindness come full circle? Tell us in the comments.